Okay, one. So we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Joe Show. And guess what, y'all? I'm your host, Joe Mirage. And today we have a conversation that I believe is way bigger than just an interview. Today we're talking about voice, justice, courage, and what happens when a young person decides that they're not going to stay silent. My guest today is a young activist who has been using his voice to challenge issues affecting his community and demand accountability. I want to make something clear, y'all. This isn't just about what he's doing. I want to know why he's doing it, what shaped him, and what is costing him. When he believes this fight is ultimately going. So let's get to it. Welcome to the Joe Show. How you feeling today, boy?
How's it going? How's it going, man? I'm glad to be here. I never thought that I have opportunity, talk to people about, being standing up for what's right. But if somebody had to do it, I'm glad I'm one of the people that get to.
Honestly, I will say that I actually am glad that I actually had a chance to really sit with you because I remember I told you before. I'm like, man, I really been watching him for a minute, and I'm like, this is actually something that I want to someday walk into. You know what I'm saying? And you
Mm-hmm.
actually setting an example for all the young people that's ahead of us, for our generation.
Hmm.
So before we talk about activism, courtrooms, and everything happening publicly, I want the people to meet the person behind the headlines.
Hmm.
Who who are you when the cameras are off and nobody is really watching?
I'm probably the same. I'm across the board, man. I think everybody that I've had a chance to encounter, I'm a very sympathetic and empathetic person. I believe in fighting for the small person or the person that's, less fortunate, less educated. Like I, just for anybody that needs help. I'm for standing up for people. When they're in the right. A lot of times. I believe in everybody having a fair say in what's right and what's wrong, but some things you just know are the right things to do, and I can't stand with anybody that's intentionally doing wrong and looking for a loophole out of trouble.
Mm. Uh, so I must ask too. I have seen that you were a barber as well.
Hmm.
So how do you really navigate, between you being like an activist and you really just being like your everyday life and then, get into, barbering?
So man, I actually I started barbering like in 2017.
Mm,
I wasn't very like a social person, and but I understood the language of the barbershop, like for me getting haircuts, and so being able to have an opportunity to socialize and then not really at the time being focused on education, just trying to learn a trade, something that would put me in an environment where I could learn, I could grow, and put me in a space of being an entrepreneur. And where I could have easily took a route to do something the wrong way. I just always felt motivated by, you know, being in charge of my life and not having to look over my shoulder to do it. And I know a lot of people that come from communities where I come from, they aren't blessed with those opportunities, or they never see the people from that community that get those opportunities ever come back to those communities. So becoming a barber just became a way to be able to socialize and influence people from a position of being right there with them,
yeah.
and that itself made me care more about people, because I mean you sure you have a haircut or two in your life, and
You think I need one right now?
but your barber is like your therapist. Sometimes you feel close enough to talk to your barber, and so I feel like as I grew into wanting to get into politics, the only way you could truly represent people is by understanding what people are going through, and what better
Yeah.
way to do that than to hear it directly from the people.
Hmm. Which is crazy because you remember me telling you that I was like everything that I'm doing, I really want to bring it back, like to Kosciuszko.
For sure.
That's my main goal, like out doing what I'm doing now. Like real estate, my nonprofit. I just wanted to be able to go out in the world, learn, and then bring it back home. just in
Mhm.
case, like we saying, some people may not have like that urge, or they
Mhm.
may not have that courage to really just take out on that leap of faith and
Mhm.
go try.
Mhm.
So yeah, honestly, I commend that part because I know for me, I think that it's important that people really see, activists that they don't always see like the experience that created the activists. But
Mhm.
I also do like let's talk about where that passion, really came from for that. We talked about, barbering, but let's really get unfold like the activist side.
Okay, so I think all my life, like I said, I've always stood up for people. I never liked bullies. I had a older cousin as a kid that bullied me. So when I finally got a chance to like get away from that, I just felt like yo, I got to fight for everybody that's ever in that situation. And
Mhm.
so I lived in Arkansas. In like 2000, from 2010 to like 2021, I lived in Arkansas, and a situation had occurred at my residence, where officers, this made like national news. Officers had raided my apartment, alleging that they had watched a drug buy at my home. Well, the problem was I was at work, and my cameras caught the person that came to my house, caught the officers at my house, and they blew down my door while I was at home. And once I discovered that everything had been falsified, I went back three years, I think, of search warrants, and just like I literally just stopped my life. And because I was like, for them to do this so easily to me, and I go to court and they dismiss everything, they never take any money, they never take anything. I said something can't be right, and so I put my life on hold. I pulled like 3 years of search warrants, started contacting people I never met before in my life, but just letting them know like, hey, I think the same thing that happened to you happened to me. And
Mhm.
I think there's a chance that you could beat whatever it is that you're going through. And man, cases just got to start dropping like flies. The videos like went viral, and then like Attorney Ben Crump like had represented me for a while, and once I saw that instead of legislators making decisions to hold officers accountable, they started making laws to protect them. And I was like, well, I wasn't in on that decision making. So how do I get in on that before they start making decisions? And
Yeah.
politics became the avenue that people introduced to me, um, to create influence as far as representation for the people in my community who don't who weren't represented fairly when their life was interrupted. Man, I met people that had kids in their house, underage kids in their house, and their first introduction with the police is a SWAT team blowing their door down because
Yeah.
a informant is going around lying so he could get drug money. So to have people lives ruined to that magnitude, and then nobody ever say I'm sorry. I said they're not gonna ever care because it seems like I'm the only one with the problem. Nobody else is saying anything. So if only one voice is gonna be representation of the people, I need
Mhm.
to be at the table to have a say so for these people so that we aren't ignored. And from there, man, seeing the resistance that I fought by being a black man with no felonies, I was like, the scariest thing to them is that, as long as I don't have no
Yeah.
felonies and I run for office, I'll forever have somebody worried that their position could be taken. So they'll have to either represent us or get out the way. And from there, I
Yeah.
just carried that torch
So what what I can say that I really love is that like you standing up,
for sure.
nobody could really stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
And like what I really want to know is how did you feel, you know, once you actually like blew up on social media? Like I would say like a lot of people they don't really understand what comes with social media like that
Mhm.
because they feel like, sometimes some people consider social media or people that has a strong social media presence as clowns, right?
Right, right,
They'd be like,
right.
"Oh, well, go talk back in front of your camera, go do this in
Yeah.
front of your camera." But when you knew that you officially had the support from the community, from the people, what I really wanted to really start talking about is Durant, right?
All right,
No Durant
right.
that far from like
Yeah.
Talley County.
Right.
Um, because this isn't just something like you talked about online, you taking your concerns into the legal system in Durant.
For sure.
So I must ask, there, what made you believe like, okay, I want to take my own city to like federal court? Like I want it back.
So man, you know what's crazy? I didn't understand how how badly a poor education system had affected the the community or the
Mhm.
county as a whole in Holmes County, but most definitely in Durant. I didn't understand how the poor infrastructure, how all these things had affected the people there. And so when I got there, like I moved back to Durant in like 2021, because I was like, if I was in Atlanta at the time, and I was like,
Mhm.
well, if I'm gonna pour into a place, like, why not the place where I'm from? My mom is from buried here, my grandmother's still here, and I mean, I just think this place could use somebody with a fresh mind, and that. And I wanted to finish my education at Jackson State, where I started at, which I ultimately did, but I didn't think that me coming in, understanding that there are issues and asking questions about those issues, I thought I would be welcomed with open arms. And
Mhm.
I was met with resistance. Like, what do you mean? What you want that for? What you want the information for? And so that put me on my heels. Like, oh, something must be
Going
afoot.
wrong.
And
Yeah.
so, when I started asking questions and the retaliation I got from that, it just made me be like, well, why stop? If y'all are worried about me uncovering it, and this is information that you can't stop me from having, then
Mhm.
whatever it takes, whatever I've endured worse. So whatever it takes to, hold people accountable and show people that, man, there still is, even though the white flight happened and all of the, people that are not of color moved outside of city limits. When black people started getting in positions of leadership in that town, there are still white owned businesses that are thriving at the hands of black people. And so
Mhm.
I was like, I want to come back and help educate these people on how their money should be in the hands of those that know what they're doing with it, as opposed to everybody adapting to trying to survive rather than to thrive. Like we still have to come over to Kosciuszko, to shop, to do all of those type of things. So
Which is
whereas,
crazy
which
because
is
everybody in
crazy.
Costas gonna have to go somewhere else.
See what I'm saying? So, but all of that money that we spend over there, instead of keeping it in our own community, we have to take it elsewhere. And that money, it doesn't matriculate into anything. And our property value goes down. We start to lose. And so when I saw that, hey, it's not just affecting me, it's affecting other people, other
Yeah.
less fortunate people in this community. And the only people that are being protected are those that are within this certain friendship or in these certain positions. And then, when your teachers are no longer living in your community, they're having to commute into your community. When your elected officials are no longer educated, they're just running because there's a scarcity of jobs. Then someone has to do something, to change the narrative of what's going on in their community, because there's no growth at all. Hasn't been any. If anything, I mean, we're declining population wise every year. We're losing about 3% people every year.
Yeah. That is true. I will say that it is crazy that our teachers are coming from all over. Because I was like going to school in Kosciuszko. I know a very good amount was not actually in Kosciuszko. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
Like they were driving from Jackson, Ridgeland, Pearl, and it's like, dang, like you know what I'm saying. So I can only imagine how how small Durant is, like when it comes to that. So I must ask, looking at how everything is now, your what would be your vision in the next 10 years that you would see for Durant?
Man, a lot of torn down property, a lot of trying to expanding our city limits, trying to entice, up in our public safety. That's one of the
Mhm.
biggest things. A lot of people don't even feel safe coming into Holmes County as a whole. So making the changes necessary. And I ran for mayor last year, and I have the election in court right now, because there was a lot of acts of voter fraud that which have been verified by the Attorney General's office,
Mhm.
Public Integrity Division. And so, waiting on the Supreme Court to make a decision on it, because one of the main things I try to tell people too, as far as like my generation, all the younger people in general, it's more of us than it is of the elders. And
Correct.
so we have a more open mindset. We just don't go vote or run
Right.
for office. And so until you start putting yourself in that position to control what's going on in your environment, I mean, you can't really complain about anything that's going on there. And so I've just tried to center my focus on the bigger picture down the road. We all have
Mhm.
to leave here, and I try to make that clear to them. We all have to leave here. How we leave it matters, because I mean I'm a father myself, so and I have friends that have kids. I mean, their friends have kids. I have
Yeah.
nieces. I have family, and so I worry about what this place is gonna look like when they come up. And so all of my decisions are gonna be based on a position of growing us infrastructurally. Like we don't have our capital assets. Like the city doesn't even know what it owns. It's so behind
Right.
on on going forward that the mindset that even our current mayor said before was I don't want us to be LA. I like what's the little town from the Mabel Mavid whatever
Man,
the list.
you talking about close to Starkville?
No, he said I don't want us to be LA. Mayberry. He's like I like Mayberry. Like so that shows you the mindset that the people, the elders, they are so stubborn and stuck in what they feel like is comfortable for them. That
Right.
anything that looks like change, it scares them. But change is inevitable. It's just a matter of how long you gonna wait before it changes. So in 10 years, man, I'm sorry, in 10 years, I hope to see Durant prospering as a small town. I would love to see more people wanting to move here, more jobs being available here, and people feeling safe being in this community, us upgrading our downtown. And I
Yeah.
said, and expanding our city limits to out to 50 Interstate 55. Because that's the difference between us, Goodman, Pickens, what is that? Vaughn right there. Everybody down that stretch on 55 that ate off of 51 for so long, they
Mhm.
didn't expand out to the interstate. And so they missed out on a lot of commerce. But if you look at Gluckstadt, they came out of nowhere. You look at
Mhm.
Madison, how it's grown, even Canton, you see that exit, you see businesses, you see things that make you feel like I can get off and spend my money there. We don't
Right.
have it.
So, what I must ask too, when we talk about the rent, right? Let's talk
Mhm.
about the actual. Oops, somebody probably heard me.
I gotta be you.
Oh, that's me. Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
When we talk about the actual like crime rate in the rent,
Mhm.
so how do you feel like? What do you think that could happen to really change like that? Because I know I looked it up, but I have to look it up again of how many unsolved cases like Holmes County as a whole have. And I believe, let me get it right. I believe that the sheriff was saying that he says, quote unquote, that they were gonna get on working with people to really solve as many cases as they can. But it seemed like the only time that cases are really solved is when they're really like pushed, and then sometimes you be having to go farther to push it. So how do you feel like, how has the crime really affected everything in the like Holmes
The,
County, the
the
rent as a whole?
the crime as a whole is the biggest factor. I've seen people on social media. What's the guy Clay Edwards? You know, he has a big following of certain people. And
Uh-huh.
looking on his page one time when I posted something about Durant and he shared it about, I think it was an officer leaving or something, and people were saying like how they lock their, we have a strict lock your door policy, or strict no stop policy when passing through Holmes County. Like people do not want to spend money or get out of their cars where they don't feel safe. And when we, like you said, with all these unsolved murders, there's, you only matter if you are uh, a particular family, or a particular association with people. There are many crimes that could have been solved, but also the retaliation, that those officers have worked so long inside the sheriff's department. So many people are related that if you go relay information, it'll be on the street and you'll be looking over your shoulder, because you tried to go be a good Samaritan and say what
Right.
you saw. So, I mean, the crime is not going to allow anybody to want to bring a job there. Most of the jobs are leaving. I know most of the factories in our town, we have hunters left, and It's one more plastics place, which they had made a big layoff at one point, but we are continuously losing businesses to people that could be working there because crime is an issue. We can't support the infrastructure. The wind blows hard, lights go out. Sometimes the water is not usable. Like it's just a bad situation from bad decisions of people that are in leadership. And because if I am related to you and you go do something wrong, if I don't say nothing to you, I can't go over there and say nothing to the next person for doing the same thing because I didn't punish my cousin. So how am I gonna punish you? So it's a buddy buddy system completely through and through, and it is ruining. The lack of accountability has ruined any potential growth as it stands right now, and the only way to fix that is to weed out the problems. I file complaints. But it's so much easier for a board or a city board to say, hey, we're gonna terminate this officer because he's not a good look for this department. But they're not paying them nothing, so they're like, we'll take anything just to have someone.
Hmm.
Sorry, go
No, I was so sorry. Hold on. So he went
ahead.
right into the camera. Um, I want to say too is that I see a lot. I don't know. I know you've seen the video of the young man, when they had like the guns and things out like that.
Hmm.
When they was like on top of the cars, they ran to the
Right,
police
right, right.
station, right? So when I look at stuff like that, and I think about if our town is already like down bad, right? Which is crazy that it took them to do that for them to have roadblocks, for them to check everything, for them to start patrolling. I must ask you, how do you feel about that? Because I even though I'm here in Chicago, when I seen that and I seen that it started going up, and I know I had
Mhm.
seen that guy before. Um, I think I have ran across him on TikTok or something like that, and I've seen like the different cities where he does that. And what's your thoughts on that?
So, and I voiced my opinion when that happened. That I was displeased with how the guys did it. I'm a Second Amendment rights guy. I'm not. I don't have an issue with guys, lawfully carrying a weapon. But however, in a city like you said, where even at that time, people can. I honestly, in talking to some of the citizens there, nothing was actually no. Nobody had been reported to have had any crimes go on. But the fact that no, that we knew locally that there was no police force there, but there wasn't anything happening that was causing a that type of energy, and the people that paid the consequences for those officers coming down there were actual law abiding citizens, people that were riding through, you know
Yeah,
that normally don't have to worry about certain things, but with law enforcement being there, it just kind of it hurt those that are trying, as opposed to the ones that brought the attention there. Like I said, it shouldn't have been the standing on the cars. It shouldn't have been the taunting the fact that you don't have law enforcement. Because when I was younger and wild, I think we would have, if we knew that we didn't have police presence, we weren't going to expose that fact to the internet and
that's what
have
I was
police
saying.
showing
I'm like,
up.
no,
So
I wouldn't. I'm like, why would
why? Yeah, but clout is a serious
dangerous
drug.
game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so it'll have people doing things that that they shouldn't. But I think the response that they got from it, if it's only for the moment, we live here for real. So you guys showing up for a little while, showing your presence. Everybody knew eventually you were gonna leave. So it was just kind of like a dog and pony show, for the the news or whatever.
yeah.
But that's
Which is
it.
crazy that they covered that too. Speaking of Durant, right?
Yeah.
Where does you stand with where do you stand with Durant right now? Like anything legal wise?
Yeah, so I still have like I said earlier, the election matters in court. I
Mm-hmm.
just had a situation where they pulled my meter off my house again for the
All
second
that.
time.
That's
Like,
crazy.
so I'm having to take them to court about that. I have so much stuff going on. I just hadn't got time to filing with them. Still have federal where I was wrongfully arrested a few times, but now that I have more arrests to add to that, so that just kind of extends the claims of things
Like,
that are
yeah.
happening. Yeah, it's an ongoing process, man. I said, even with the lawsuit I had against my school against Jackson State, it took
Mhm.
3 years to even get some resolution with them. So I know the legal game is long and it's tedious, but spoils always go to the victor, you know. And so I'm willing to for what I believe my the value of my life is and what I'm worth. You can't give up on it. I'm gonna fight you to the death because I know how what my name means to me. I know how much I've sacrificed to still be here alive and free. And
Yeah,
so anytime anybody plays with that, I don't care what city it is. You know, if you play with my freedom, I'm gonna see you in court about it. I can't fight you.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna you got to show me you smarter than me, and I don't think you are. I don't care how much they pay you.
I mean, from the looks of it, it looked like you're not smart at everybody.
I do my best, man. Durant just fired their just parted ways with their municipal judge. He had initially signed a warrant on me, and then he recalled the warrant. And I said they finna get rid of him. And just as soon as he recalled that warrant, I just found out today they just hired a
Wow.
new, yeah, they just hired a new judge. So you know, everybody out there, it pays to fight.
Yeah.
In the read, you know, they don't count on you reading. I know lawyers are expensive. That's the thing that pushed me to start fighting the most. Lawyers, man, I don't have $5,000 to give you every time I have an issue because I have an issue almost every other day. And so I'm like, if the only thing between me and a lawyer is he read and educated himself on something that I didn't at the time. And so if the same books are accessible to him, the only difference he has, he's in the courtroom more often than I am.
Yeah.
But I feel like I know how to hold a good conversation. I know how to, you know, put a situation together to explain it to those that may not have any knowledge of it,
Hmm.
and I know how to ascertain and apply the law. So, um, you know, if it's a matter of wits, then you know that's a battle I like playing. So, um, I just hope people are encouraged to understand, like even in the midst of whatever you're going through, struggling at home or whatever, man, your voice still counts. You can be somebody. I was kicked out of high school from the 10th through the 12th grade, 3 years of school, I was kicked out 5 times. My principal told me I wasn't gonna make it. They told me I would be in jail or dead. A lot of teachers wrote me off. A lot of people said I wouldn't be here, and bigged up a lot of my peers, and a lot of my peers aren't here. I'm
Hmm.
not strung out on nothing. I've never been incarcerated. Well, I've been arrested a multitude of times. I stand on it. But that's not a stick anybody can swing on me. But I've never been confined or incarcerated or served any prison time in my life. Never been convicted of a felony. I've always stood up for my name. I never had a co-defendant in those situations. I never went on no stand and had to point at nobody else about nothing. If you're gonna do something, do it by yourself,
Yeah.
and only do it if your back is against the wall. That's something my cousin taught
Right.
me. Never let your emotions let you make the first decision. Think about it, and if your back is against the wall, then you react. But if you can walk away, walk away. Got nothing to prove.
All right. Y'all heard that. Hold on. Give me one moment
Okay.
because I'm about to do a mid check in for
Okay.
everybody that's listening on
Okay.
air
Okay.
because I'm pre-recording for you.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
All right. Hold on. One moment. Hey, everybody, you're tuned in to the Joe Show Syndicated. We're right here in the middle of a real powerful conversation. And I just want to remind everybody listening this is bigger than an interview. We're talking about real life, real experiences, and what it means to use your voice to create change. So stay locked in. Don't touch that down because you're listening to the Joe Show for the record because we're about to take this conversation even deeper. Okay, we back.
All right. All right.
I had to do my little mid check in. So
Yeah, I like
everybody,
that. I like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody that's listening on air. So
Mhm.
like how we got it right now, like you're actually like we're live on
Okay.
StreamYard and then we're on air at the same exact
Okay. Okay. Okay.
time.
All
So yeah, I'm gonna punch
right.
up too.
All right.
I know it's kind of fun, ain't it? All right, so I was asked at what point did this really stop being personal and become bigger, than you? This is where I really want to get personal because people see the post, they see the protests, they see the courtroom, and I will say that they see somebody standing up and speaking out, but they don't always see what happens when the camera's off. And I know I actually in the beginning, how argue when the cameras are off, but I want to know after you experiencing like everything, right?
Mhm.
How has that really? I'm a big person when it comes to mental health, right?
Yeah,
How has
yeah.
that really affected you? You know, because
Uh,
I just know how it is to be in front of the camera, and everybody in the comments, hey, they be like, hey, I got your back, this, that, and the third.
uh
But it's like, do you really though?
yeah. Well, so, uh, yeah, man. I pay. I don't say I don't pay attention, but I don't do anything hoping anybody's gonna support me. I do everything believing that I'm by myself.
Yeah,
So I'm always appreciative of those that are supportive. Whether it's a comment on Facebook, whether I bump into people in the grocery store. Like, I can't go nowhere now. At least around Holmes County. And it feels good. People I never met. Like today, I was at Jackson State, and the lady was like, "Hey, you're Roderick Talley," and so it was like, wow, this crowd was on the phone, and it was like,
yeah,
see, they know you everywhere. But it's I've been, Ti said this in a song a long time. I've been popular since kindergarten, so it's not a nothing new to me to be liked by people. But my mother, I just come from good people, and everything that my family did, it was out of love because we ain't have no lot of money. And so that's why, like, me being, if I'm a little bit more knowledgeable than somebody else, or I'm in a position where I've been through something that somebody may not have been through yet, I shared it with them. Like, I try to open their eyes to the possibilities too, rather than just be somebody that chastises. And I learned to not chastise unless I had an alternative for them. I
right.
could tell them that, hey, you may want to look into, this and that. But man, when I was in situations of trouble, there
Hmm.
were people that were there for me. There were people that when I get arrested, I met their biggest crime was being poor. That was it. They in jail because, man, I can't afford to make bond. I didn't do nothing, but I can't make bond. And I'm not saying everybody in jail is innocent, but there are a lot of people that if I've sat in there for 6 months because I don't have any money, and you come and tell me, hey, Mr. Talley, I'm gonna let you out on time served if you just go ahead and say you took this crime, or you gonna wind up in here another 6 months. People take deals all the time that are
Yeah,
not in
for
their best
sure.
interest.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so I'm just like, man, if nobody else is gonna say something and I gotta leave this earth anyway, then
mhm,
I'd rather die standing here fighting for people, than sit here and live my life in solitude because I'm only trying to care about myself. I've been poor, I've been without somewhere to stay, I've been without a car, and I still made it. So the worst you could do, and now I own my home, I own my cars, I don't have no notes on nothing. So the things I was worried about not having before, you can't take those from me. So long as I got a roof and a way to get around, I'm gonna cause as
yeah,
much hell as I can while I'm here, and I'm gonna make y'all hate me for it. But it's gonna be in the best interest of the people as a whole, because even when I ran for mayor, I ran on the premise that my salary would go back into the community. I don't want to get paid. If I was making it without that money, why do I need it now? It's not a full-time position. It's just
right.
something you show up for. So what I need the money for? Put it back into my community. We don't have a real recreational youth league or any of that. I just care about people, man. Love outweighs everything I've ever had in this world. And so
Mm,
if I can have an opportunity to make life better for everybody else, aren't it? You're less envious of the guy that got the same J's on you, right? As you got on. If you look down and he got the J's you got on, and we both got them on. So now I'm not looking at him like,
yeah,
so I feel like if I could share the wealth from that only a select few get from my community, if I can make it to where all of us are, living in a more than subpar um, economic system, then I've done my part. Nobody's envious of anybody because we all
right,
having.
right. So now that you actually brought up the mayor position again, do you think that you will run again, like for the next year?
Well, if the Supreme Court sends it back, they'll make a decision here in either late October or early November.
Mhm.
So a decision should come in soon. And so if when they make a decision, basically it'll go to court, and a judge will decide if a re-election should happen. And I'm optimistic that everything is going to go in my favor because in accordance with the law, everything is in my favor. So It's just a matter of waiting. But if I don't win, I mean, if they don't rule in my favor, there's a justice court judge seat that comes up in Holmes County, and
Mhm.
I'm considering either that or the supervisor seat. So I'm trying to see what I'm gonna do. A lot of people been trying to make amends with me. I think they worried about me running for their seat. So
Yeah.
I'll have to see what I'm gonna do. But people that normally wouldn't speak to me, now when I see them, they like overly friendly now. Like they're like, "Oh, what's going on, Mr. Taylor? How you day going?" Like, yeah, nah, we
They want
weren't
to know,
friends
like,
at first.
am I
Yeah,
comfortable?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
want
So
to kind of turn back to the personal point too, because I
okay.
do have one more question on the
Mm-hmm,
personal part.
mm-hmm,
I know you were saying like not having any money, like when it comes to actually like bonding out and people taking deals, but just for the people, because I being honest, my motto is empowering voices one story at a time, right?
mm-hmm,
And with me, I always speak about the highest moments in my life, right?
mm-hmm,
Just everything I have accomplished here, Chicago, from Chicago to Mississippi to all over.
mm-hmm.
I must ask, what has been your lowest part of you pushing through of everything that you done so far? What has been the lowest, and what really has made you like, other than the community, right? What
Mm-hmm.
really has made you like, okay, no, I'm gonna hold on. I got this. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna go for it.
Okay, Lois. Hmm. Man, it's been a lot of low moments. My lowest was um 2 weeks before I was supposed to graduate. Um, but 3 weeks before I was supposed to graduate,
Hmm.
being told that I wasn't gonna be able to graduate, that I was being like suspended from school. After I had worked to acquire two degrees. I had majored in political science with the concentration in legal studies, and
Hmm.
then I had majored in sociology with a minor in criminal justice, and my minor in political science was in finance. And so to get to that point, and in that final semester, man, I was taking 17 classes, 52 hours, yeah, within 3 schools. And so like I was completely locked in. And so to
Yeah.
be have to call my people and my family and tell them that I'm not gonna be able to graduate, that was probably the lowest point in my life I had ever been in. And then to get there and, but I knew I wasn't, I'm like, I fought too hard. I know I didn't do anything wrong. I just gotta see this through. And that's what I did. I said, and I knew I couldn't afford no lawyers to go to war, because who cares more about my life than me? And
Right.
so I said I was just whatever it takes to try to get up out of that space. But in the midst of that, seeing other people struggling and not knowing what to do. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I do know what to do. So I'll help you too along the way, and hopefully I'll get my blessing through helping others. And so I've helped be a light for those people, man. So many people have, helped. I've never met them to this day, still never met them in person, but seeing them get out of jail, seeing them have their property returned to them, and it didn't cost me nothing but some time. And so that's it. I mean, it's just that easy, man. To be a good person, it don't cost nothing to be a good person, man. It don't cost
Yeah.
you anything to be just some time. And I said most of the time we sitting around twiddling our fingers or strolling on social media. So I love to read. I like to be informed on things, because I'm one of those. I told you people.
Yeah.
If I'm already prepared, then I don't have to wait till later to do it. And so
Right.
I just put my time and energy into that.
Which is crazy because, like, with me, I I'm not really a big reader,
Mm-hmm.
but I still like would go back and read some things too, because I actually like, I'm like, I told you so too.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say too, just speaking on the lowest, everything that you done said is really encouraging, because I feel like somebody out there, I was actually saying this earlier on another podcast, is that sometimes when we actually speak about the things that we go through,
Mm-hmm.
like when, like I said, when the cameras is off, like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes these people, these people in the community, they go through the exact same. and they may not have like that push to pick up a book or pick
Mm-hmm.
up the phone and ask for help. So actually just seeing you, I think what I would say that's a blessing to everybody because they like, well, okay, he's doing it.
I can
Let me
do it
call
too.
him. You know what I'm saying? I can call him and let me try doing it myself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it just give. I'm telling you, I'm trying to tell you. Like for me, being from Kosciuszko, and actually wanting like to pursue a career like in radio, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I will say that I don't know how many times that I actually been told no, right? Like I've been told no, like at the radio station, Breezy radio station in
Mm-hmm.
Kosciuszko,
Mm-hmm.
Philly, um, Jackson, and I'm like, okay, when there's a no, it's always gonna be a yes somewhere.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
somewhere. Mm-hmm.
And so it's just crazy that I really have to shop around and I had to keep like doing demos. I had to just keep telling, like just keep shouting myself out all the time. And some people just don't understand when you get to that lowest. Sometimes you be rethinking everything. And
Everything.
every time that, you know, with me, I think I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I always think about my mama. Like
Right.
what's crazy is that
Right.
I think about my mama because I think about what everything like she has done like
For
throughout her
sure.
career. You know what
For
I'm saying?
sure. For
And it's
sure.
like, man, one day, even though mama house paid off, it's like I want to buy my mama another house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
I want to
sure.
buy another car. I want to be able to show her like, okay, I actually did good with this child.
For
And
sure.
like every time that I feel like something do go bad, I do put a little damper on me. I'd be like, man, I gotta do better. So that's
Right.
what I kind of think about with our community. And I'll admit I did engage in some and like sometimes like just being dumb, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like
Mm-hmm.
Facebook games and stuff. And I actually think about it when like being older and it's like, man, what was I doing?
What was I doing? Mm-hmm.
Like I
Mm-hmm.
could have been using that time to actually do something, you know?
But
Um,
would you have learned what you learned had it gone a different way?
nah, I don't think so. Honestly, I really don't think so because I would think me steady being like in Kosciuszko,
Mm-hmm.
once you really get familiar with everybody, like it's just that small community like town
Yep.
thing, especially me just being open about like who I am, my sexuality and everything. I would say like just being there is always like the normal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I commend people like you, me. It's a few more people that I know like in the roundabout cities that actually has, you know, stepped out their way to really do something with their life.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that, hey, keep going. You doing it. But
Appreciate it.
I want to also ask too, because I'm on my last couple questions, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I was just talking about empowering voices one story at a time, most of my stuff really be about, you know, the young people.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think so many young people, no, I'm sorry, hold on, correction.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want young people to understand about using their voice?
Um, First, I want to say, credit your point where you say, you think back to your mother. That's something that I use as an inspiration too. I was saying she was like such a good person, such a good woman who taught me the importance of love and how much hard work. I used to watch my mother go. We lived in Memphis when I was younger at one point, and
Uh-huh.
she would go all the way to Germantown to work over in the more wealthier neighborhoods, wash their clothes, clean their house, and have me and my sister right there with her. And we didn't live no fancy life. We went back to the projects after she got through cleaning up there. She was the candy lady.
Uh-huh.
So watching her sacrifice for me and my sister, and I just think about what she would do if she was still here. I lost her when I was 22. So I just think about how she would react to certain things or what she would do in those situations. But to credit to the youth, man, I think the only thing that you can offer them are opportunities.
Yeah.
Um, Idle minds, as they always said, devil workshop. When at 13, what we can go so far as to 10 to 18 now before they graduate high school, through that whole episode, there's nothing in our city for those people to do. There's not a hangout place. There's not a Boys and Girls Club. There's not a YMCA. There's not a space for them to be kids. So they're being raised off of social media and being raised by their peers because single parent households, mothers are at work, kids are raising themselves. And so it has just created a vacuum to where if those kids don't get, and we got a poor school system,
Yeah.
so if those kids don't get it at school, along with some help at home to get an opportunity to leave, then
Yeah.
they're going to become, laborers for the most part, from throughout the city, having to travel to Carthage, to the chicken plant, to these different places to work the Amazon, all these places outside of the city to try
Yeah.
to maintain a lifestyle here in Durant or in Holmes County rather. So I think the best thing for the youth is if you're gonna leave here, if you really want something better for this community, leave here, get your education, and if you are willing to sacrifice, come back and pour in, because we need more younger faces to show the other younger people somebody to aspire to be like. But um, but if you even if you do leave, hopefully you'll believe in pouring back into your community anyway, as long as you see the results of you pouring back. That's the problem now. If I gave $1 million to the city of Durant, I don't know what they do with it if it would even go into the city. So
Hmm. I will say too. Oh, and that is true. That is true. Because when you speak about Holmes County, I don't know why I'm always bringing up Talley County. Maybe because what
right beside each other, yeah.
I call them sister counties. I don't know why I just say sister
Yeah.
counties. Um, I will say too is that when they go out, yeah, please come back and actually, plan to do something. Because I have seen some of the young men. I believe it is a organization. Um, what is it? I think it's like man. Actually, let me look at it right now because I don't want to. I don't want to
Mhm.
say their organization wrong. I don't want nobody trying to hurt me, y'all. I don't want that happening. I'm looking at it now. Hold on one moment. Okay, man striving for excellence. So they are actually a organization, right?
Mhm.
Where they're raising the bar for young men to be excellent. They're
Mhm.
actually them and I'll name a couple people that I have actually seen in like the community that's actually been trying. I seen them. I seen another young lady where she has like a mental health summit. I think it'd be every year.
Mhm.
And then also I see some of like the older parents, that's like football parents, right?
Mhm.
We was talking about like sports and stuff. What can you say like about that? Do you feel like it's okay for kids to feel like that sports is really their only way out?
Heck nah, I hate that that's the mindset that you gotta. If the education system has been poor for the past 20 to 30 years, the education system has been declining, getting worse and worse. And so imagine if the kid now is depending on a person, their parent who didn't get a quality education to care about a quality education for them. So if the way out is the way we only see visualize, they only show us a visualization of the people that make it out through sports.
Yeah,
They don't highlight uh such and such that went and became a doctor. They don't
yeah,
highlight such and such that became a lawyer because those people leave and don't come back. But then the sports players will sometimes have they little camp events or whatever. And so the kids can relate in that sense. And
hmm,
that's what's consumed the people here, not the education, because I can't help you with this schoolwork. I didn't get a good education. So what do I do? I can't afford tutoring either. So get it the best way that you can in hopes that if you get it at all. It's
hmm,
just it's just not a system that works, man, at all. And but sports should not be a child's mindset of the only way out. Not that many of them make people make it to the NBA, to the NFL. MLB, none of that. But a lot of people have. There still are always. There's not always going to be a need for lawyers. There's always going to be a need for doctors. There's always going to be a need for educators. There's always going to be a need for people with education.
Yeah.
So I mean, but you can't impute that into a generation of people who are being who don't have a supported education system or a supportive home system that works.
Mm. Which is, I actually believe that I will say that for the last like year,
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I have seen more like stop playing sports and actually like try to go for something. But I do want to like give a big to them. So hopefully some of them kind of get out of that attitude of like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, maybe sports is not my only way out, you know?
But
'Cause
how
I mean like
with these poor school systems, like you were mentioning the nonprofits, how profitable or how uh effective would they be rather than these different individual nonprofits putting on for themselves to reach out to these other organizations and collectively work together all year? Why does it have to be your event, your event,
so
your event?
so I will say that when it comes to like the nonprofit field, it actually you wouldn't believe that it actually gets kind of hard. Like when it comes to like networking and everything, I would say that a lot of them they just be stuck in their ways, you know, and which is crazy because when everybody speak on their mission, right? Most of their missions be tailored the same. You know,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, we're still targeting the youth. But you know, for me, I don't target the whole youth. I target which I can,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like where it's not as competitive would be for foster kids, right? I was a foster kid, so I was like, I
Oh wow.
believe and you know, paying it forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I ain't lie, my mom, she was the best. So I feel like why not if I had one of the, I mean, best life that from my experience after talking to so many foster kids throughout the years, like I have
Mm-hmm.
a support group for foster kids. My mom run a parent support group for foster parents,
Oh
right?
wow.
So
Okay.
even though like we our organizations, our business, nothing really like goes with each other, even
Mm-hmm.
though it's the same, but we have never worked with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But she still does that. I does this here in Chicago. And I will say, like, actually, I had one young lady, right? She actually is from Canton.
Okay.
And mind you, all my people are here in Chicago, but she's from Canton and she joined the group probably like 2 months ago, right?
Okay.
And not to really put too much of her business out, but I'm gonna use it as an example where she actually spoke about how being in foster care and having being in a household that have multiple parents. Well, not multiple, you have two parents, sometimes auntie, uncles, everybody else, and then you have multiple kids in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she feel like she wasn't getting enough attention.
Okay.
So she feel like that kind of affected her as an adult, and it's affecting her now where like she has like issues like with dudes where she feel like now she has to keep giving her body away. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was like, okay, that's another trauma where it's like, okay, let's try to find, you know, help find a free therapist because at the end of the day, everything still costs money. But
Mm-hmm.
there's still some organizations out there, especially in Mississippi, I will say
Mm-hmm.
that actually work off of just grants and actually pour into like the youth, pouring into the children. And she was one of the examples that I really saw where it's like the organization that I connected her to, they she's still not paying for therapy right now. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not invoicing her. Everything is coming straight from grants. So it's like
Oh.
with some nonprofits, they work off grants, some work off sponsorships. It gets a little bit hard out here for some organizations. But for me,
Mm-hmm.
since I just signed up with the IRS and I never signed up with an actual state, I'm able to do stuff like in multiple um, you know, like counties
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
multiple states. I'm sorry, one moment. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually getting ready to pull that up now. So for anybody that actually is not doing anything, I would actually love for y'all to I believe I'm gonna try to do it as a tour. So I want to be able to come back to Mississippi. I think this will be my first event for Christmas. where I'm giving everything I got and actually showing like back to the city, like, okay, this is what it's about, you know? This is what I mean when I say we really want to pour into our community. And then after this, I'm gonna get ready to close out because somebody
Okay.
is getting ready to come on after me.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right.
Hold on. I'm finna get ready to put it on the screen so everybody can see it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, right here. So this
Okay.
actually my very first event with my nonprofit. So my nonprofit is actually named after my biological father,
Okay.
and he had a baby before he passed away, and his name was Dream. So I could put both of the names together as in Willie's Dream, and I made it a foundation where, like I was saying, since I was a foster kid, I wanted to be able to give back to the community.
Okay.
And everybody can adopt a kid for Christmas. So no
Okay.
matter where you are, no matter what city, I'll be having people that'll be signing up from everywhere.
Adopt.
Where if you are a foster parent and you need an extra help, you can literally reach out to me. Just look at the flyer, and my my nonprofit will be happy to give donations. We're giving gifts. We'll be giving away food vouchers. Yes, in every single city. So I don't care where you are around the world. This is to everybody that is around the world listening, from Atlanta to Charlotte, all the way to Miami. So make sure y'all are tuning
Mhm.
in and make sure that y'all we are getting ready. Okay. Now I honestly want to get back to this interview though. Sorry, I had to get that
All
out the
good.
way.
All good.
Yeah. I had to get that out the way. But I want to really get into really my last part, which is legacy, right?
Okay.
I speak about my legacy all the time. I always say how I want to, anytime that I'm announced, right?
Hmm.
I always like my accolades in front, you know, like um what stellar nominating, Grammy boards, you know, things like that. Like I really have tried my best to put myself in every single room. So when all this is over, the lawsuits, the activism, the arguments, the victories, the losses, which you really ain't had that many, um, like you're still gonna have to answer one question: what did I leave behind? You know. So what do you hope people associate with your name?
Oh man. Uh, I just hope they always remember like I was a man of the people, a
Yeah,
man that was willing to fight for anybody that was right, a man that cared about um I mean, just cared. I don't even have a specific thing that a man that just cared and
yeah.
wanted the best for everybody. I want to be remembered for wanting the best for everybody and fighting like hell to give it, even when it meant me going without. So that's it. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So we're gonna close this out a little bit differently because y'all, we are actually at the end. What's one question nobody has ever asked you about your journey that you wish somebody would have asked you?
Yeah, that's somebody. Oh, when somebody comes and tell, please, you all, this is one question I wish somebody would ask. Not even just me, but was just asking in general.
Yeah.
When you hear or so allege that I've done something or that someone has something negative to say, I want it to be so me. I want to be so profound in who I am as a person that when they say that Tally did this to me, your first response need to be, "Well, what did you do to him?"
There we go. Yeah, there we go. You know, I'm gonna put the horn over here. You ain't gonna be here no more, but I'm gonna put a horn over here anyway.
Appreciate it.
That's
Yeah, that's it.
that's right though. Like that's so true. Like with me, I ain't gonna lie. I that's see, there you go. You got me too. But I'm asking my own question too. Um, I really hope where people actually like associate with my name is that he grew.
Hmm.
You
That's
know,
hard.
I
Yeah,
want
that's
to just
hard.
put that he actually grew. Like I want them to see like the the beginning of Joe to the end of Joe,
Mm.
and actually
Yeah.
like okay, like that be the main thing I always like with my mom. I'll be like, I just want you to see. I want people to see that I at least
I
try.
agree.
You know, I don't care what whatever I don't accomplish in life, and if it doesn't happen for me, I'm gonna be okay with it
Okay with it,
because
yeah.
I still know that I at least tried,
Right. For
and
sure.
that makes me more and better than most of the people that I have actually met.
All
Because
right.
because I know my mama watching this, so excuse my language. I know that most of the people that actually will say they want to do something, they sit on their ass and they don't do
Oh
nothing.
yeah.
I'll say that. You know, they haven't actually tried. But
Nah,
I appreciate you for coming on the Joe Show, you
I
know,
appreciate you having me. I appreciate you having
and
me.
being willing to have a real conversation. I really do think that's like the biggest takeaway from today's conversation. You
For
know,
sure.
like it's above the protest, above everything. It's about having the courage to stand behind what you say, even when it's uncomfortable, even when people disagree with you,
Hmm.
even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. You know, you still showed everyone, you showed the world, you know, whether you agree with everything, Mike, you stand for not one thing. Everybody can understand that. You know what I'm saying? They understand the importance of using your voice, being willing to stand for something. So congratulations on that one. And
I appreciate
actually,
it. All
I know
right.
for a fact that I know for a fact everything will turn out good. So maybe when I come down, we can actually have another conversation when you start running, because I know
Yeah,
for a fact that you will.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. So to everybody watching and listening, don't forget you have a voice too.
For
Use it.
sure. For
I'm
sure.
Joe Mirage. This is the Joe Show, and I'll see you next time. Stay real, stay motivated, and never be afraid to ask questions nobody else wants to ask. All right, hold on. I'm ending the stream.